when you think about Texas high school football, especially the 6A and 5A levels, the teams that have dominated right now are in the DFW area.
Right.
They've swept the 6A and 5A level or championships the last 2 years. And I believe they've won something like 11 of the last 12 in 6A and 5A.
Pretty good.
Right now, DFW, fair or not, is the center of the Texas high school football universe. Now, we've been talking about it a lot, about how this could be shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if it's going to shift somewhere, although Austin's certainly going to have something to say about it with Cedar Park and Lake Travis and Westlake and all them.
Sure, but, their issue obviously is not having enough teams
Yeah.
to really, just quantity of good teams.
But I think that Houston is making a push, and I think that they've got a chance to really make some noise. And you look in 6A, look, there's the looming beast, right? I mean, it's the team that everybody forgets to talk about because they're just so dang good. It's Katy.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they're running the ball with Kyle Porter, the way that defense is playing, I mean, if you wanted to put them at number one, I think there's certainly an argument there.
Yeah.
Manville, of course, has so many different weapons. That early loss to Spring Westfield is looking better and better because Spring Westfield looks great.
Yeah.
De'Eric King, all those, Reggie Hemphill, all those weapons they have. It's ludicrous. Pearland is another team that I think people forget to talk about. Quarterback Connor Blumrick has really, really shined and really blossomed this year for Pearland. And, by the way, they're undefeated, and they're already past Dawson. I mean, this is a very good Pearland team. Klein Collins is a team that maybe we haven't talked about enough.
Plucky, though. I mean,
very plucky. That's a
very
good word.
Plucky. And talented at skill positions. I mean, they've got just the right pieces, if they're consistent, to knock a few teams off and maybe make a run.
Justin Pratt, if you have not paid any attention to him, he's special. He's a special running back for Klein Collins. And then there's Dickinson. And Dickinson has been that team that nobody's paid attention to. And all of a sudden, the Gators are just sitting there, 7-0, probably going to win their district. The rest of their games, Friendswood will be pretty tough. Clear Creek will be a great game. And then Clear Springs, they're probably going to win their district, I think, if you had to pick right now, because Jordan Myers, their running back, is just ludicrous. Already 19 touchdowns in the year. He's averaging 8.5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And their defense has been really, really good. The Gators, a team to watch out for. And then Spring Westfield's a weird team. And I remember texting you because I handle the 6A rankings on TexasFootball.com, which you can see at TexasFootball.com/rankings. And when Spring Westfield lost to Klein Collins, Spring Westfield, I believe, was ranked number 6.
Yeah.
And I believe my text to you was, what in the heck do I do with Westfield? Because their one loss is to Klein Collins, and that came the week after that really embarrassing brawl against Spring. So they had a number of players suspended, plus their coach, Matt Meekins, was suspended. And so how do you, so I dropped them a little bit, but I didn't. But I still think they're a top 10 team that we currently have ranked at 13. That's where I am at on Westfield.
Yeah. I mean, circumstances dictated that they fall in the rankings. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you or I would ever consider them not a top 10 team and a clear title contender.
Dylan Sterling Cole, Tyree Cleveland, Ed Oliver. I mean, there's so much weaponry on this Westfield team. The Woodlands is another team people forget about. And so they have one loss, right? And it's to Katy. And they lost 14-7.
Yeah. Pretty good.
You want to run into the Woodlands right now? I don't. Ooh. No, that defense is dangerous. If that offense can get that extra bit of oomph, they're a state title contender. Clear Creek's a squad people are not paying attention to. They just launched into our rankings. By the way, they're 7-0, and their quarterback Chase Hildreth has been excellent. He spreads the ball around, and they can play their fair share of defense. Hightower is a squad that we hear about all the time on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Boy, that Fort Bend, those Fort Bend people, they're noisy.
Hey, gotta be heard.
They want to make sure you know about Fort Bend. And Hightower's legit. I'm a believer. I can certainly understand if you were hesitant to hop on board the Hightower bandwagon. I know I was.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've already got a great win over Ailey Felsick, which is a very good win. Underrated, I think. They beat Fort Bend Ridge Point. And now they've got A-Leaf Taylor this week, which is a huge game. And if they win that, they're almost certainly going to be Kempner. And then you're looking at a 10-0 team.
Yeah.
I mean, this Hightower team is dangerous, and it's because of Nico Hollins, their quarterback, who has really been excellent, and their defense is great.
When you look at the Houston teams in our 6A top 25, who's the lowest ranked team there you could see winning it all?
The Woodlands, number 20. I could absolutely see the Woodlands just getting hot and all of a sudden finding one or two big-time weapons.
Right.
And, you know that defense is going to show up every week. You don't have to worry about that. They held Katy to 14 points. I can't stress that enough. They held Katy to 14 points. This Woodlands defense is so good.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see them getting hot and winning a title.
Well, but now you're going to hear from the Fort Bend people.
Oh, I know. I could see Fort Bend Hightower doing it. If they can, they've got that guy. They've got Nico Hollins.
Right.
And if he stays healthy and he continues to do what he's been doing, sky's the limit for the Hurricanes. Right. In 5A too, but I'll tell you this. You look at Katy, Manville, Parallel, all them. I think 5A has as good, maybe better, of a chance to bring home multiple state titles. George Ranch, a squad that we thought was just gonna, they lose all those big time playmakers.
Right.
All the guys that we thought, they're gonna spell doom. Kingsley Kiki, the defensive end. We're like, okay, well, George Ranch is gonna fall off the map. Dare I say they're better this year?
They look really good.
They're excellent. That
they
defense,
look really good.
They've got that win over Foster under their belt.
Yeah.
Last week, that win over Angleton is a sneaky good win.
Yeah.
And you know what? You look at it now, end of the year, Port Lavaca Calhoun, also undefeated. That's going to be a barn burner. But you expect them to roll in that 9-0.
Yeah, you would expect that.
And I've just been super impressed by the way that they run the ball with Alex Fontenot and Darius Anderson. Just really, really solid. And that running game's almost certainly showing up to the park every week. And then there's #CC Takeover. My boys at Crosby. You want to talk about noisy Twitter people?
Crosby Cougars.
You want to talk about noisy Twitter people?
Yeah.
Crosby.
Are they pretty noisy?
Crosby makes noise on Twitter, and they want to let you know about #CC Takeover.
Well,
I'm a fan though, and we've been aboard this bandwagon since the beginning. Not to be hipsters about this, but we thought this team was cool before you did. And what's funny about it? Here's what is really promising, I think, for Crosby, is that they are 7-0. 7-0. They've still got a couple more games to go. New Caney's not going to be any pushover, and Houston CE King's got Travion Williams. That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But they are 7-0, and I think their offense has not reached its potential yet. I think it's been good, obviously good enough. Manny Netherly, their wide receiver, has 13 touchdown catches on the year. That's Corey Coleman style numbers. He's been stupid good. But I think their offense has been good. I think if you were to talk to Jeff Reardon, and maybe we'll try to get him on the phone. If you were to talk to Jeff Reardon, I think he would say, yeah, our offense has been fine. I don't think it's reached its potential yet.
Sure.
But they're 7-0 because of that defense. And the defense has really, really shined. And that's always kind of been the problem for Crosby, is that they've had this big-time offense, but the defense just gives up the key play here and there. That defense has come around. I'm a big fan of what Crosby's putting down.
You're talking me into it. I want to know more about this defense now, too.
Stratford, Houston Stratford is another team like the Woodlands, where that defense is just so crushing. It is just a soul-crushing machine, this Houston Stratford team. And I really think that that's the kind of team that, if the offense can come up with the big plays, Michael Milstead, their quarterback, has been solid. Rakeem Boyd, the running back. If they could come up with the big plays, that defense is going to keep them in every game. Yeah. I mean, they've already shut down good offenses like Ailey Felsick, like Brenham. They've got a couple of that game against Magnolia West coming down the pike in 2 weeks is going to be fun. But to me, I think this Houston Stratford team is a team people are forgetting about. And then there's Fort Bend Elkins, and a squad that, they lost a game early. They lost a game early to, who did they lose to? I cannot remember. But they just bounced back with a great win over Fort Bend Ridgepoint. Their loss is to Texas City. Now, to me, this Elkins team is So they're very not reliant, but they've got two guys who are such dynamo playmakers, Ramon and Skinner and Romelis Skinner, brothers, who are just super dynamo players. Quarterback Ramon and then running back Romelis. I need to see a little bit more offensive diversity before I'm willing to fully buy in on what Elkins is selling. Mm-hmm. But the defense is pretty solid for the most part, and to me, they're dangerous. I think they're dangerous. And any Fort Bend team is going to have athletes. You know that because that's just such a talent-rich area, part of the state. So that's, to me, I think, and especially with the games coming to NRG Stadium, when you look, how do I want to put this? I'm not a big believer in the overwhelming power of home field advantage, quote unquote, for a state title game.
Right.
Because I think that there's a couple of teams, I think there's a couple of other factors that are much more important. And I think that overall, the better team has won when they've been in the state championship game. I think generally speaking, the better team wins 90% of the time.
Sure.
But I'll tell you that the Houston area has been so close so many times to winning a state title that maybe it's that extra 1%.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that 1%. Because I don't think it's a huge factor.
Yeah.
But I do think it is a factor.
Yeah.
And that the games being at NRG Stadium in Houston, I think could vault them up to the top. But it's, I think that this is as deep. I don't know if the overall quality of Houston area high school football is better than it has been, but I think that the top is deeper. That right there, I mean, you talk about that's 10 teams in the 6A rank in our 6A top 25.
There's no question.
There's a lot of really good talent, especially the 6A level, that all they got to do is get hot at the right time. And with the playoffs, we know that's the key.
Well, yeah, and if you group these teams together, I mean, how many do we have here total in the top 25s in each? What, 10, 14? Mm-hmm. 14 in 6A and 5A in our top 25s. Mm-hmm. Those are good odds. Those are really good odds.
Can I, speaking of the Houston, Port Arthur area, can I mention something?
Oh,
I have something very important to report.
Okay.
Bun B just followed me on Twitter. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
Okay. I'm not gonna freak out.
Keep it together.
I'm not gonna freak out.
Just try to keep
it together.
Try to keep it together.
I'm not gonna freak out. Anyway, but so we're talking Houston area football. We are going to, move over now. We're talking high school football. Of course, get in touch with the show. Use hashtag DCTFLive to talk football. Who do you think is the team in the Houston area that has the best chance to win a state title? Let us know at hashtag DCTFLive.